Do you think that it is fair that people with money can pay for their education and receive better chances in life?
Well, I think if you have money in life, you'd be able to have lots of choices, and one of the choices that you might
But
have
do you think it's fair?
is to have a private education for your children. Is it fair? I think it's fair.
You think it's fair that people with money can pay for their education and get better opportunities in life, whereas people who don't have enough money aren't able to? You think that's fair?
Well, it's difficult to say in life what is fair and what isn't fair. Life isn't fair. If you don't have much money, you can't afford a nice car, you can't go on nice holidays. Some people make a sacrifice to send their children for private education. That's just a fact of life, I'm afraid. Whether you think it's fair or not, it's just the way it is.
Private schools mainly have classes with small amount of students in them, so the teaching is basically one-to-one. Do you think that it's fair? Do you think this is unfair on the students in state schools, that they are missing out on this opportunity of the one-to-one communication between the students and teachers?
I think one of the benefits of working and going to an independent school is that you have small class sizes, and that's most beneficial for the teacher. And you need to ask the government, if it works well in the private sector, you should ask the government, well, why don't they have small class sizes? They obviously don't think it's that important. So therefore, people who have the money to go to independent schools do so because they like the small class sizes.
Do you not think that this is jumping on the fact that it's unfair that people who can't afford private schools are actually able to have this one-to-one teaching and student ratio, whereas obviously people who can't actually afford it are missing out just because they can't afford it? Don't you think this is a bit unfair?
That's a question you'd have to ask the government of the day, because it's their choice whether to have large class sizes or not.
Okay. Only 6.5% of the people in Britain access private education, yet only 45% of Oxbridge students were privately educated. What does this say about the opportunities afforded to people who can afford to pay for their education?
Well, I think you have to look at it in several ways. Intelligent people tend to have intelligent children, and intelligent people normally have good jobs that pay well, so they have the choice of sending their children to a private school. And so therefore, the fact that you have a lot of intelligent people who have great facilities and low class sizes means that you are going to have a lot of very successful people coming from a private school. So the fact that it's only 45% isn't surprising at all.
But it's only 6.5% of people in Britain are actually in private education.
As I said, quite often the brightest people go to independent schools, so therefore they get the good opportunities, but they're also very bright.
Over 50% of the current cabinet were privately educated and currently making decisions on behalf of the 94% of us who are in state education. Do you think the government may struggle to understand the problems of the average man on the street?
I think the present government struggle to understand anything at all, and I wouldn't personally vote for them.
So you think that they are finding it difficult to understand how people in state education, how they understand education?
I think the mix of people in the cabinet is such that you've got a Prime Minister who's educated at Eton and is Chancellor and so on. And I think, yes, they do have a different skewed attitude to life, and I would actually agree that there should be a broad mixture of people. They're supposed to be representative of the people to represent us. But I wouldn't vote for this present government anyway, because I don't believe that they are doing a good job.
Last question. Private education gives you a defined route to success, whereas state education gives you a broader route to either failure or success. Do you think this is fair?
I don't agree with the question. I think that whichever private or state education you go to, the route that you take is defined by the choices that you make.